Carson Wentz will not go empty-handed into his first Rams start. Malachi Nelson transfers to the land of potatoes and broken dreams. And the backup goalie who saved the Kings last season is out for the rest of this season. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is January 7th, 2024, Sunday, the Lord's Day. Take a moment. Thank God for the blessings that you have in your life, like LA sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. And we have an absolute ton to get to. You got to be thinking about something that's going on here. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Give the UCLA basketball program a little bit of credit because they're back over 500. Isaiah Collier scores 26 points. Boogie Ellis adds 22. USC just obliterates Stanford 93-79. Maybe a little too early to say that the Trojans have figured things out yet, but this is a good start. Meanwhile, Cal beat UCLA at Poly, and it really wasn't even that close. Cal 66, UCLA 57. Sebastian Mack scored 20 points for the Bruins, who fall to 6-9. Meanwhile, today, the Rams are in San Francisco at 1:25 this afternoon. Here is the playoff situation. If the Rams win, they will play Detroit as the 6th seed. If they lose, there's going to be a lot of maybes. Maybe they fall to the 7th seed. Maybe they play Dallas. Maybe they play Philadelphia. A lot of unknowns there. Kansas City is at the Chargers, also at 125. Chargers aren't going to the playoffs. We already knew that. But here's something that's even worse. Easton Stick, in his 4 starts as the Chargers quarterback so far, just 4 touchdowns in 37 offensive possessions. The Clippers are playing the Lakers at 6:30. The Lakers have a 4-game losing streak. Meanwhile, the Clippers have won 14 of 16. And the Kings are playing Washington at noon. The Kings are starting their longest road game of the season, 6 games. And they're on a 4-game winless streak. But let's get back to the Rams to start off the news, shall we? Carson Wentz, with today's start for the Rams, that will be a start for his 4th different team in as many years. But the Rams didn't totally just throw him out to the Wolves, to their credit. The LA Times is reporting that while it is true that they will be resting some starters, they will not be resting their offensive line, which means Wentz has protection. Now, Kyron Williams, the running back, won't be playing, but Puka Nacua will. And he is expected out there because he is on the verge of setting records for both rookie receptions and rookie receiving yards. So he's going to have at least 1 target that he can trust, probably a couple of more. But I got to tell you, taking like that half step back going into this regular season finale for the Rams, the news overall is strange. It's not bad. Not going that far. Just strange. And I think the reason that the news is strange, the stuff I'm about to share with you, is because the press is starting to overhype them because nobody expected the Rams to actually qualify for the playoffs. And so now the press is trying to make heroes or overblow people out of proportion to make them heroes when they aren't exactly that yet. Now, for example, I like Byron Young. I like Kobe Turner. What I don't like is ESPN saying that they could replace Aaron Donald. Really, guys? Shh. Stop. Now, Sarah Barshop wrote that, and I bring her name up. I'm not doing it to disparage female scribes, because to be honest with you, when I was a scribe, I knew a lot of brilliant, legitimately brilliant female football scribes. They just didn't work for ESPN because ESPN is looking for people who look good in front of a camera. Mina. Besides, if Barshop did write it or she didn't write it, Let's be real, a dude from ESPN would have written the same thing anyway, so it's not about gender. Now, both Turner and Young, who were third-round picks this year, they're having terrific seasons. They're first and third in sacks by rookies. The Rams coaches love Young for his intellect. They love Turner for the work ethic. Both are critical to the revitalization of the Rams defensive line. But come on, ESPN. Neither of them is grabbing the torch from arguably the greatest defensive lineman of all time. Stop it. Just stop it. I mean, Aaron Donald is not playing today, but it doesn't even matter to me if Young and Turner put Sam Darnold in a body bag this afternoon. They are not taking the mantle from Aaron Donald. Say they're having a great year. Say they could be found, that they're going to be part of a good Rams defensive line. Do not insult my intelligence by telling me they're replacing Aaron Donald. That's not true. Another website that I always tend to have problems with is something called Turf Show Times, a Rams blog, because they're shrill. And I don't like shrill. Because when you are shrill, you're not basing your argument in reality. It's one of the reasons why I don't talk politics. Talking politics is so shrill, it's like taking an air horn into church. You just don't do it. But I do give that website credit because they look ahead to the Rams offseason. The last offseason, for example, the Rams rebuild accelerated from compensatory picks. Puka Nacua was one, for example. But LA is going to land at least a minimum of 4 compensatory picks for next year's draft, or for the one coming up, I should say, by losing players such as Baker Mayfield, for example. And they could even get more draft picks. For example, if defensive coordinator Raheem Morris decides to go get a head coaching gig. So again, the Rams news is not always earth-shattering, but it is kind of quirky and interesting. Malachi Nelson, once the #1 recruit in all the land, is transferring from USC to Boise State. The same Boise State that lost to UCLA last month in the LA Bowl. Malachi Nelson spent 1 season at USC. He threw just 3 passes as a freshman, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. It is hard to see this as a win for the one-time high school player of the year. How is it a win? You went from LA to Idaho, but that's not the only reason. Even if Nelson tries to parlay 1 year at Boise State, puts up these gaudy numbers, and then transfers to a Power 5 conference to start, dude, you were already in a Power 5 conference. I got to tell you, this whole transfer from Nelson, and look, he is an adult. He gets to make his own decisions, just like you and I screwed our lives up when we were 18, right? Right? But I got to tell you, this whole thing with Nelson just smacks of the impatience of youth. I've got to tell you, I got to be real about it. I'm going to insist that until proven otherwise, this is one of the most impulsive, poor decisions that I've seen a young man make in a long time. By the way, here's a change of pace. Speaking of the transfer portal, for once, somebody not only left USC, but decided to transfer to Oklahoma. Offensive lineman Michael Tarkin. He's heading there via the transfer portal. It's going to wind up being Tarkin's 3rd school in as many years, by the way. So, yeah. He was in Florida, one side of the country, LA, and now he's figuring, what the hell, I'll split the difference. Enjoy the tornadoes, dude. Enjoy the tornadoes. Phoenix Copley is out for the rest of the season after reconstructive surgery to an anterior cruciate ligament in one of his knees. The procedure on the Kings goalie was a success. You might recall, Copley was injured in practice in mid-December, had to be helped off the ice. This is a pity for Copley because he was a career minor league journeyman with an occasional shot at the NHL. Now this is literally going to take the rest of his Kings contract away. By the time he's healthy, he's going to be a free agent. And the man rescued the Kings last year. If you recall, Jonathan Quick was stinking up the joint. If it wasn't for Phoenix Copley, the Kings don't go to the playoffs. He lost his job this year, though, to Cam Talbot. Now, Copley this year has played in just 8 games. He has a 4-1-2 record with, honestly, a really bad save percentage, .870. Copley's replacement as the number 2 goalie is David Rittich, who has gone 2-0-1 with a 9.26 save percentage. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, will the Kings wind up making a trade to kind of boost back up goalie? Be skeptical of that. They are seriously up against the salary cap. Highly unlikely. The Athletic is reporting that a source in the NFL said that the Chargers want to avoid hiring a first-time head coach this time around. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't want to hear from a hot defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator. The Lions offensive coordinator has been linked to the Chargers job, for example. It's not that they're excluded from getting the job. It's simply a strike against them. And by the way, the same scribe does believe that Jim Harbaugh is a top candidate. So that plus $5 might get you a latte at Starbucks. Later on, by the way, the Athletic also reported that if Bill Belichick does get fired, that 2 teams want to talk with Belichick. But the Chargers aren't listed as one of those 2 teams. Crazy, wouldn't you say? The 2 teams listed by the Athletic are Washington and the Raiders. So, go figure. We have been dropping names from the idiot scribe Dodger rumor mill, right? That dry erase board I would have back at my house with all those crazy names that scribes were convinced the Dodgers were going to go after. And we've been cutting those names off as one rumor goes away after another. Well, now we get to add a name. The New York Post is reporting that 6 teams, including the Dodgers, are interested in right-handed pitcher Ryan Brazier. What the report, though, fails to mention is that Brazier actually pitched for LA last year. So, top-notch journalisming, guys. Top-notch indeed. It's not exactly a smoking hot rumor that Brazier would want to return to the Dodgers, by the way. Look, if I were to guess, Brazier wound up getting cut by Boston last year. Then LA, they pick him up. They teach him how to throw a cut fastball. All of a sudden, he's lights out, right? What that suggests to me, what that story suggests to me, is that Dodger management is like, you know what, dude? We taught a lot of pitchers how to throw a cut fastball. It's our thing. That's what we teach here. So if you want to be a free agent and go, that's cool. We'll just find the next guy, teach him a splitty, and we'll just go from there. So my gut feeling is that one of the other 5 is more likely to sign him than the Dodgers because they're going to overvalue that cut fastball. MajorLeague.com's Juan Toribio is gossiping that Tommy Pham is on the Dodgers' radar. Okay. I think the guy only hits about 250, so okay. And by the way, speaking of dopey rumors from scribes, there was some chit-chat that I don't even believe qualifies as a rumor. The story is that the Dodgers allegedly want Kenley Jansen back as their closer. Multiple reports online, not a single source among them. I read 3 stories. They couldn't even combine to combine one source between the 3. What that tells me, 3 scribes got drunk in a dive bar and started BSing. That's where that story came from. UCLA is adding to their defensive line. Defensive end Jacob Busick will transfer in from the Naval Academy to UCLA. He only played 4 games for the Naval Academy last year, though. He tore a bicep. The injury led him to asking if he could stay with Navy football for another year, and the Navy is like, nah, you're a Marine. You need to start doing some push-ups and get your gunfire in. So he came to Westwood. Now he still says he plans on being an officer in the Corps. So on that level, give the guy his respect. But Busick is apparently going to be boosting the Bruins defensive line for next season. G League swingman Dylan Windler signed a two-way contract yesterday with the Lakers. Now, for those of you who aren't completely up on NBA financial lingo, a two-way deal means that he could play for the Lakers if the Lakers want, or they'll throw him down to the G League team, right? In order to do that, by the way, the Lakers also requested waivers on two G League guys, Alex Fudge and Demoy Hodge. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. With the Rams headed to the playoffs, what do you expect from Carson Wentz today? For that matter, what do you expect now that Malachi Nelson is heading to Idaho? And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.